best and furlong across the front row. Now, I'm delighted to say that we're joined on the line by the former Leinster centre, Brendan Macken. Good morning to you, Brendan.
Good morning. How are we?
Good. Thanks, Millie, for taking the call.
No bother at all.
What do you make of that selection of Larmour at fullback?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think with him, Conway, obviously, and Stockdale, it's unbelievably exciting. I think the Scots are going to have their work cut out from a defensive point of view. It's hopefully bodes really well for us.
The big concern, obviously, is conversely on the Irish defensive side that obviously between them there's, I think, in and around 50 caps between that back three and some defensive question marks as well. And I know even Brian O'Driscoll has been talking about Gary Ringrose in the last while and potentially some defensive frailties there. Suddenly we've gone from a situation of being pretty defensively sound and having a lot of experience to being pretty light maybe on both counts.
Oh, I don't really know. Yeah, I think that's a fair point, really. But I think I think Andrew Conway is even though he wouldn't have as many caps and wouldn't be experienced as Rob. He's almost kind of like an old head, really. In that back three, and I think he'll really organise things nicely. I think he's very calm. He'll definitely help Gary inside him, and then he'll obviously his communication and talk to Larmour will definitely help him. So I don't think that's a major worry, to be honest, in my opinion anyway.
In a way, this is a sort of back three Irish fans have been calling out for over recent years. Incredibly exciting. Alan Quinlan was saying, listen, there are three players who love to attack, and if the game becomes unstructured, three players who can really take advantage of that. I guess the question is, can they play the way Joe Schmidt wants to play? And the way Joe Schmidt wants to play, does that bring the best out of those three players? If he wants a very structured, rigid game plan that's quite often no-risk rugby, does that suit the three of those? Or do you think actually Smith, with the injuries, changes his ways and gives them a bit more freedom?
I think Schmidt will probably say some. You have to go out and play your own game, and that's definitely the three of those. Their own game is to take people on, is to try and express themselves, but obviously do the right things. Kick when you have to kick and that sort of thing. But I think in the last 20 minutes, because conditions will be warm and stuff like that, it'll be ideal for those three lads, and all three of them can step fellas in a phone box. So
Richie Murphy was talking during the week. He was put up in front of the press. Brendan, I don't know if it was a press conference you saw. Assumingly you've got a life, and you probably didn't. He was talking about Andrew Conway and saying that he's been around for over 3 years and that he knows the system. So even though either himself or Larmour, depending on which one was picked, they've only got 4 and 2 starts each in that full back positions. He was talking about them knowing the systems because they've been around. But there is a big difference, obviously, between knowing the systems and actually having that frontline experience of playing them. Yeah,
of course there is, and I think obviously they've both played in big European games, but I think there's nothing like playing in a big international, and opening game of a World Cup. But I really do believe, I don't know Jordan Larmour personally, but knowing Andrew personally, I think it's a challenge that he'll absolutely relish. And like you said, he's been around 3 years. He's been knocking on the door for the last while. So I think from a mental point of view, he's kind of definitely prepared himself for this opportunity, and one which you want to take with both hands.
Talk to us about Andrew Conway. He's a guy that you mentioned that you soldiered with when both of you were at Leinster. Talk to us about that and what will mean to him to be starting this game on Sunday.
Sorry, pardon? I just missed you there.
Talk to us about Andrew Conway getting the nod at 15, and a guy that you know pretty well, and what it will mean to him to be starting Ireland's first World Cup game.
Yeah, the world, to be honest, absolutely everything to him. I think even when he was school, when going back and I started playing with him, when we were seven or 8 years old, and the whole way up through Blackrock and then into Leinster, and I think he's really evolved his game. I think everyone knew that he could beat anyone, one on one. He could score, but I think he's added so much more to his game, and I think from the mental point of view as well, he's evolved, really well. And that's why, like you said, Richard Murphy said he's been in and around the Irish scene for the last couple of years, and he probably hasn't got the caps that he should have gotten and stuff like that. So I think this means the absolute world to him, and he'll relish it. So what shocked if he was man of the match now.
When you look back and you talk about each other since you were kids, and particularly your Blackrock years, and I think you won a senior cup together, and like a lot of star players have come through from Blackrock at a very young age and were seen as superstars. Was he one of those when he was 16, 17 that everybody around knew was destined for the top? Or like, he is 28 now. It's taken him quite a while, this journey, to get to this level.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I remember when his parents would give him 200 quid to go buy a pair of boots, and he'd go down to Dunn stores or Pennies, and I think he'd buy a pair for 8 or 9 quid, which probably weighed about 20 kilos, and he'd pocket the rest. And and he'd be running around, fellas, with these 20 kilos wooden canoes on his feet, and I think that's when people knew this guy's going to be pretty special. So I think like you said, it's just with the journey and stuff like that. I think that's just the way it's gone for him, and I think the move to Munster was ideal timing for him, and I think he's grown into he's really grown so much down there.
Johnny Sexton's another guy that you would know pretty well, Brendan, from both your days at Leinster as well. He's not obviously had the game time that he would have wanted coming into this game. What are your thoughts on the freshness of Johnny Sexton, particularly given that it's the toughest game in the pool first up?
Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, I think Johnny's he's just been, he's the ultimate pro. He's been around for so long. I think he knows exactly what's going to be required from him, and exactly what's going to be required from the team to go out and win on the weekend. So, and he's so unbelievably tough. He's mentally incredibly resilient. So I think if he is blowing and after 60 minutes, I don't think many people would know.
Yeah, all right. And what are your expectations, Ireland, to get it done on Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to get it done, to come out of the group, and then hopefully beat South Africa or the Kiwis in the quarterfinal, please God.
All right, very good. Listen, Brendan Macken, thanks a million for taking our call this morning. Enjoy the game.
No bother at all.
Cheers.
No worries. Take
Thanks
care.
a lot.